Hi! Today I want to talk about the words UŽ and EŠTE, which mean already and still, respectively. But as you'll find out, it's a bit more complicated than that because both these words actually have different meanings in negative sentences. So my plan for this video is to, first of all, show you the meanings of UŽ and EŠTE in both affirmative and negative sentences. And then I want to tell you why I actually don't use these words that much in my videos normally. Then I want to tell you about other meanings of UŽ and EŠTE, because there's more meanings, because it would be too easy if one word had just one meaning, right? And finally, in the end, I want to recommend some other resources where you can find exercises and examples about UŽ and EŠTE. So I got my inspiration for this lesson from my last week's video about vaccination. I will put a link in the description so that you can go watch it after this. But if you've seen it already, maybe you've noticed that I used UŽ and EŠTE quite a lot of times in that video. So that's why I decided to use some phrases from that video about vaccination as my examples today. So in the vaccination video, I said that the COVID-19 vaccine has 2 doses and that one becomes immune only after the second one, 2 weeks after the second one. So I'm going to draw a little timeline of my vaccination. Here's the timeline. I will get my second dose in May. In May 2021. So that's when I become immune. And after this, I can say I'm already immune. Už som imúnna. So after May 2021, I can say už som imúnna. I'm already immune. But before that, I have to say I'm not immune yet. Ešte nie som imúnna. So before the second dose, ešte nie som imúnna. I'm not immune yet, but after that, už som imúnna. I'm already immune. We don't actually know how long the immunity from the vaccine will last, but let's assume for the purposes of this video that it will last 1 year, for example. So in my case, that means that I will be immune until May 2022. Tu je maj 2022. And right before that, I'm still immune. I'm still immune. Ešte som imúnna. So this is the point where the vaccination loses its effect. So before that, I say ešte som imúnna. I'm still immune. But after that, I have to say už nie som imúnna. I'm not immune anymore. And I have to get vaccinated again. So from these examples, we can see that už in an affirmative sentence means already, but in a negative sentence, it means not anymore or not any longer. And ešte in an affirmative sentence means still, but in a negative sentence, it means not yet. In last week's video, both these words were used quite a lot of times, and I think maybe it was because last week's video was slightly higher level than my usual stories. I tried to make something for those of you who were asking for higher level, so let me know how it went. But usually when I teach beginners, I tend to intuitively not use už and ešte very much. And here's why. These words aren't necessary for your basic survival, because they don't add any new information. Their role is to add a little bit of nuance or express your attitude, but the important facts don't change at all if you add už or ešte.
For example, whether you say je 8 hodín or už je 8 hodín, it's still 8 o'clock. If you add už, it tells me something extra. It tells me that perhaps you're surprised that the time went by so quickly or something like that, but it doesn't completely change the meaning. It doesn't cause a total misunderstanding about what time it was. It's just a small detail that makes the language a little bit more interesting. So if you're a beginner, Don't worry about už and ešte too much, because you're not going to miss anything really important without them. So the examples that I've mentioned so far are all related to time. This is the primary, most common function of už and ešte. So we use these words when there is some limit or some expectation, at least, related to time, related to when something is supposed to happen, when something is supposed to start or finish. But už and ešte have some more meanings, some more uses. And actually they have quite a lot of uses. They are also used in many different phrases and expressions. So I'm not going to mention all of them here. I'm only going to mention some of the most common ones. So now I'm going to talk about one extra meaning of už and two extra meanings of ešte. Let's start with už. And this other meaning of už is also a temporal one. So apart from already and not anymore, už can also mean right now or immediately. It expresses urgency. And I want to teach you a little phrase in Slovak. It's už aj. Už aj, with an exclamation point. I just adds even more emphasis to this urgency. And this phrase can be used really nicely in combination with some orders. So for example, you can imagine me at school when the lesson is about to start. And I'm like, hey, students, break is over, put away your phones, stop eating, už aj, už. So it's really nice. You're going to sound like a real native speaker if you use this little phrase. I love it. I use it a lot. Okay, so let's talk about ešte. Ešte means more. So in the video about vaccination, I was talking about collective immunity. And I said that in order to achieve collective immunity, many more people need to get vaccinated. Ešte veľa ľudí musí ísť na očkovanie. Ešte veľa ľudí means many more people. Veľa ľudí is many people. Ešte veľa ľudí, many more people. Another very common example is ešte raz. Ešte raz means one more time. Raz means one time. Ešte raz, one more time. So recently I made this video called Líška a hrozno, the fox and the grapes, and I said that the fox jumps up one more time. Líška vyskočí ešte raz. Líška vyskočí ešte raz. The fox jumps up one more time. There can be some confusion about how to say more in Slovak, because the usual word for more is viac. Viac. So viac means more. If you look it up in a dictionary, how to say more in Slovak, you'll find viac. So both viac and ešte mean more, but they are used differently. And I find that many students tend to overuse viac, and they use it also in situations when they are supposed to use ešte. So imagine a situation that I offer you some tea. And after you finish drinking the first cup, I want to ask if you'd like some more tea. So I'd ask, chceš ešte čaj? I wouldn't ask, chceš viac čaju? Chceš viac čaju would sound a little bit weird. So the difference is that ešte means more in the sense some quantity or some amount in addition to something that's already there. So in the case of tea, I'm offering you some tea in addition to the tea that you already drank. So that's why chceš ešte čaj. But viac means more, as in a bigger quantity, a bigger amount. So for example, I could say that I drink more tea than you. So I would say, ja pijem viac čaju ako ty. And there I would say viac because I'm saying that the quantity that I drink is bigger quantity than what you drink. I'm comparing some two different amounts. Let's talk about one more meaning of ešte. So apart from still, not yet, and more, ešte can mean even. even in the sense of comparison. So for example, it's even better. Je to ešte lepšie. It's even better than I thought, for example. It is used with either adjectives or adverbs in the comparative form. For example, in that video about the fox and the grapes, when the fox jumps up for the second time, she jumps even higher than the first time. Vyskočí ešte vyššie. She jumps up even higher. Another recent story where this comes up is the story Babylonská väža, the Tower of Babel. And there I was saying that the people of Babel wanted to build an even higher tower, even taller tower. Chceli postaviť ešte vyššiu väžu. Ešte vyššia väža is an even higher tower. So maybe you notice that vyššie and vyššia look really similar. It's basically the same thing, right? But vyššie is an adverb in the comparative form, and vyššia is an adjective in the comparative form. So ešte in the sense of even is used in comparison of either adjectives or adverbs. Again, I want to remind you that this is not a comprehensive list of all the possible meanings of už and ešte, but I think this is already quite a lot, and I don't want this to become too long and overwhelming, so let's stop there. Well done if you managed to follow so far. And now, finally, I want to tell you where else you can find some other resources about už and ešte. These resources only have examples and exercises of the temporal use of už and ešte, the ones that we have here in the table. So far, I didn't find any extra resources about these extra meanings, but at least it's something. So first, in the online course e-Slovak, you can find this topic in the A1 course, lesson 9, and I will put a link in the description so that you can find it easily. And if you have the textbook, Krížom, krážom, the actual textbook, then it's in chapter 7. And in my copy, it's on page 119, but if you have a different edition, it might be on a different page. And finally, there is a worksheet. It's also from Krížom, krážom, and it's available online. It has some questions, some example questions or practice questions using už and ešte, and I will put a link to that in the description as well. And I will also put there the links to my videos that I mentioned today, the videos that contain examples of už and ešte, because the only way you are really going to learn these words is if you hear them in context many times. So that's everything, and I hope it was useful. Čaute.